I didn't really want to do any more She-Hulk videos, but the director, Coiro, just cannot keep her mouth shut. Now it's evil men claiming ownership over women's bodies who are, dissecting how bad the CG looked for this show. And even I heard an opinion from a YouTuber I follow, a very large channel, about the complaints about the CGI, and they kind of said anybody who was complaining about the CGI, is one of these Twitter weirdos, and it was just done in such a manner. I just kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, okay, I understand, sensational She-Hulk, John Byrne, most popular run. I don't want this to go on too long because this is just the intro to the video. We're going to talk about this article from Bounding. I took the weekend off from doing videos outside of the Jennifer Thomas interview, which is, if you're a channel member, it's available right now. It'll be ready for the public tomorrow. And we did Saturday night's main event, which was an absolute blast. We talked about, it was They Pray weekend. So if you didn't see the stream, go back. We talk about both movies. Watch that. But today, we're talking about She-Hulk again, Coiro, this article from Bounding into Comics, and it's just funny that I still love how insecure a lot of men are about muscular women. It's hilarious, and that's the thing, is I don't want She-Hulk to look like the modern She-Hulk. I don't, not at all, because we had the Red Winter Trans Hulk, we had She-Hulk, who basically looks like Hulk with a ponytail and a crop top, looks horrible. But, she's 6'7". She's supposed to carry some level of muscularity, and they talk about that in the article. Coiro has a comment about that, and it's just, it's hilarious to me that, these male superheroes are supposed to be all big and jacked, but, the females, you have to look like a normal female, but you have to have all the powers of a male without having any of the physique. It's kind of stupid. It really is. Like I said, I don't need her to look like Miss Olympia or some, like, one of these morphs you see on, like, DeviantArt. But, I mean, a little more visible would be nice, and the CGI. And that wasn't even my main complaint with the CGI. But we'll talk about that in the video as we go through the article. But for right now, monkeys. Roll the footage.
Men, they're only good for one thing. Opening jars! Now we don't need men at all.
The age of men is over.
Yeah, that works.
I like
all right,
that a lot.
okay. All right, moving on.
Hey, what about Tulip?
Is there something left for me to save in the wreckage of my life?
All right, here we are, bounding into comics. She-Hulk director Coiro blames criticism of Marvel series CGI on our culture's belief in its ownerships of women's bodies. This is hilarious. This all goes back to Roe v. Wade and these insane feminists and insane leftist cult members who don't understand how basic laws work. Now, that notwithstanding, because as I've said a cornucopia of times, I don't enjoy getting political here. I don't. But it's becoming increasingly difficult not to, just because of how stupid and insane these hypocrites are on the left side of things here, especially in entertainment today.
You're despicable.
So we're going to talk about this article. A big shout out to Spencer Bakuli over at Bounding into Comics. This came out a couple days ago. Didn't have a chance to cover it. But today, I will. And like I said, damn, here I am making another She-Hulk video. Yay. For a show I'm not even going to cover other than the first episode, because I want to see how much of a dumpster fire it is. And yeah, inevitably in the comments there'll be those, well, if it's that bad, just don't watch it. Well, yeah, I know. I kind of cover entertainment. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be beholden to anyone else's fucking boycotts. I'm not going to be beholden to anyone's complaining about what I should and shouldn't do with my channel. You know who I'm beholden to? You, my subscribers, and basically myself and what I want to do with my fucking channel. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Let's get into this.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
In what very well may go down as one of the most baffling defenses of a Marvel product in all of history, She-Hulk attorney-at-law director Kat Coiro has asserted that the widespread criticism of the Disney Plus series CGI has nothing to do with its quality, but was rather our culture's belief in its ownership of women's bodies.
I own you!
Oh my Godsies! It's The Handmaid's Tale! Here we go! Shut up. These people are insane. Nobody's taking ownership of women's bodies. What we are talking about is a comic book that was created... ladies, sit down. You're not going to want to hear this. Feminists with half your head shaved, a bull ring in your nose, and you smell like, 2-day-old sushi that's been sitting in the sun. Sit down, brace yourselves, but She-Hulk was created by a man. I know, it's shocking news, it's terrifying, you're scared, I understand, your small worldview can't handle the fact that a female character was created by a man, designed by a man, and yeah, so there it is. You can have your meltdowns in 3, 2, 1. Anyway, let's get back to the article. It's funny though, because this picture is great. Bruce Banner's looking at it going like, God, you're more of a man than I am. And that's actually Mark Ruffalo saying that to Tatiana Maslany, because let's face it, Mark Ruffalo doesn't have any balls. But no, I think this shot right here of She-Hulk, I'm not going to say she looks terrible, because she doesn't. But there's just some of the shots, it's so wonky. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with this character? As I said in the opener, I don't need She-Hulk to look like the Hulk, but I do need her to be more than just tall and skinny. I mean, She-Hulk was kind of jacked. She's a Hulk. I don't want, like I said, I don't need her to look like Bruce Banner. That's not, they were built differently. Two different physique types entirely, but let's not just make her out to look like a mutant WNBA player. Coiro shared her opinion on the backlash to Jennifer Walters' uncanny Valley-esque looks during an appearance in the series' August 3rd Television Critics Association press tour panel.
You guys are assholes!
There, the director asserted, in terms of the CGI being critiqued, I think has to do with our culture's belief in its ownership of women's bodies. Again, nobody is saying they own women's bodies. What we are saying is that this is a creation. This is a work of fiction. We can make it whatever we want, as the creators, in terms of the creators, because it was not created by a collaborative of women who were like, we need no. She-Hulk is a derivative character to her root. She is a derivative character, much like many of the other female characters, but she has her own personality, her own style. And like I said, She-Hulk this lady is one of these people who, like I said, thought that The Handmaid's Tale was gonna happen in reality, just because of Roe v. Wade, which is absolutely hilarious and delusional. These people are mentally ill. They really are. They're just, all of them are straight up mentally ill. That they carry this kind of just insane worldview. I think a lot of the critique comes from feeling like they're able to tear apart the CGI woman, said Coiro. There's a lot of talk about her body type, and we base it on Olympian athletes and not bodybuilders. See, I want to talk about this picture in a minute here, but I think if we had gone the other way, we'd be facing the same critique, she concluded. It's very hard to win when you make women's bodies. See, right here, it's just, I think it's the pose, but I don't think she looks bad here. I really don't. You've got, you got some nice delts, biceps. You could see a little waist to hip ratio there. And I say that because if you look at the John Byrne She-Hulk, she kind of looked like that. But I mean, it's obviously the way if you understand anything about, the body and the muscles and posing, it's the way she's standing that's popping her bicep and her delt like that. But it's CGI. And that's another thing. Remember Natalie Portman and everybody fawning on, and I fell victim to it at first too. I saw some pictures of Natalie Portman. I'm like, did she get a little bit swole? Because if she did, cool, you know, good for her. She's playing a superhero. My God, you know, she's built like my freaking, you know, my pen. There's nothing to the woman. She's absolutely just pin skinny. And Natalie Portman's a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong. I'm not insulting her in terms of her beauty. It's just you're playing a superhero, sweetheart. Look like it. I'm 6'3", 230 pounds. You're not going to kick my ass at 100 pounds. I'm sorry. You're not. I mean, worst case scenario, I'm just going to throw you. And I'm not saying that because I have ill will or aggression against women. I'm just saying realistically, if I'm one of these, say, I know karate or jujitsu or whatever, and this is just 100 pounds, I'm going to kick, you're getting tossed. Now, if I'm completely untrained, out of shape, some kind of slob, then, it might go a little bit differently. But I mean, the size advantage does come into play. So just keep that in mind, Natalie Portman. And that's the thing. Like I said, she didn't hit the gym one day. Chris Hemsworth got so big, his wife was like, you need to back off a little bit. That's a bit much. But, guys, women look at other women and they get jealous of their bodies a lot of the time. Men look at other guys and be like, I can look like that. I want to look like that. It's not jealousy. It's like motivation. And that's the difference is, and obviously there is a level of insecurity on the male side too at times, which, I mean, is obvious. The insecurity in men, you can really tell who, the guys that are pounding their chest talking about how manly they are when they see a woman that has bigger biceps than them. That right there is the be all end all in telling which men are insecure, because 9 times out of 10 the guy's gonna be like, I don't know, 9 times out of 10. I mean, maybe I'd say 70% of the time most guys are gonna be like, all right, like, damn, okay. Depending, I mean, you get some gargoyles in there. But no, I mean, then you get those guys that are like, she looks like a man, and meanwhile the guy's like a fat fucking slob who, sits around and porks fucking Doritos and Mountain Dew down his gullet all day. And then, says some chick who goes to the gym like 5-6 days a week and is in like peak physical condition looks like a man. That's the oddity we see with this dynamic, because the muscular female physique is still not fully accepted, but there's guys who appreciate that, and I'm not saying like it should be mainstream, to each their own. Let's put this in all things being equal here in terms of bodies and what looks good and what doesn't. The mainstream kind of accepts guys that are into, shall we say, big women, chubby chasers, but they look down and castigate men who think females that work out are attractive. So let's just put that in perspective and have that out there in the zeitgeist in terms of this video and its relevancy while we're talking about the female physique here. Because if you're going to call me gross for thinking a woman that has muscle is attractive, then I don't want to hear you complain when I call you a fucking weirdo for thinking some heifer with fucking type 8 diabetes is attractive, or some bitch that looks anorexic is attractive. Go fuck yourself. That's just fucking, you're a fucking idiot at that point.
Fucking moron.
She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany would later echo this rhetoric while speaking as to what she enjoyed about playing the series' title role. The series follows Jen as she navigates the complicated life of a single 30-something attorney who also happens to be a green 6'7" superpowered Hulk, explained the actress to the media in attendance. And like I said, I don't know anything about Tatiana Maslany. I don't know her politics. But, I mean, I'm gathering that she is probably some kind of feminist. And I don't, whatever. I'm not going to watch Orphan Black. I don't care about anything she's done before. My only thing is how she's going to play this role. And you hear the interactions with the media, and it is what it is at this point. We know who these people are. Jen has had her life planned out for her and has worked really hard to get where she is as a lawyer. And to have this thing happen to her, that sort of derails everything, she continued. It's a bit of an identity crisis.
Who are you?
Turning to what she found really compelling about the story, Maslany asserted that it was the element of the show when she's She-Hulk, she's treated very differently than when she's Jen. Well, of course she is. When she's Jen, she's this mousy little, basic bitch-looking lawyer. And when she's Jen, she's this 6'7", muscular bombshell. She's flirty. She breaks the fourth wall, does her thing. She sleeps around a little bit, but that's how she was in the comics. There's a lot of having to affirm her intelligence when she's Jen and assert her role and trying to get respect. Whereas when she's She-Hulk, there's this inherent sort of awe inspired by her that's at odds with how she wants to be perceived, she elaborated. Her anger, her largeness, her taking up space in a room is all fertile ground for us to play with. Flip the standard on its head so you can laugh at it. We're so fixated on women's bodies, whether it's aesthetically or politically, or in terms of rights, or in terms of autonomy. I think that what we do in this show is in touch with all of these concepts, she concluded. Well, that's a hilarious statement when we think about it, because literally nobody is taking women's autonomy away. Women have just as many rights as men, if not more at times, and the fact that people don't understand states' rights versus federal government rights, and the fact that it's really telling about people when they want the federal government to have control over every aspect of their daily life, including reproductive rights. If you have this in the hands of the states, you do realize that lessens restrictions. And yeah, there are states that are going to outlaw this, and well, it's always been said about, in terms of this the issue that Roe v. Wade deals with, safe and rare. And actually, those of you saying that our president is so very against this, if you go back and look at an interview from the 90s, he said the same thing, safe and rare. And I would rather have the states, and if you're not, you can travel to a state where problem solved. And if you can't do that, well, then you should be more responsible with your decision making in terms of what you do with your body. You absolutely have autonomy over your body, but poor decisions that you make, that's not my fault. That's a you problem. So nobody has control over women's bodies other than the women that own them. I'm sorry, this whole thing is so funny and so just made up. This whole outrage, and here's ads for Vegas because I recently booked a Vegas trip. Notably, Coiro's statements in particular came the same day the Entertainment Weekly published an interview with the director wherein she revealed of the series production. It was definitely something we talked about inclusivity, buzzword, making sure the story was told through the female lens, buzzword. Comic books have traditionally, in the art, been through the male gaze. So there was a lot of talk about what is the female gaze and how do we create it from our point of view. How stupid is this? How stupid is this? Like, this character's created by a man. And this is the thing. And the female gaze is all right because the male gaze has happened for so long. We can't have it anymore. We can't have any female look attractive based on what male standards. They have to look attractive on what the female standards are. And this whole thing is just stupid. You're just ruining a good character is what you're doing with all your bullshit. One thing I always come back to was the wish fulfillment elements of getting to see her walk down a dark alley. And someone gives her a hard time, she's able to kick their butts, the director detailed. It was something that every single woman could relate to. Any woman of any age. Why are you walking down a dark alley? I'm not victim blaming. I just, this analogy is it's so disingenuous and such a straw man. The wish fulfillment elements. This is like the issue of the She-Hulk comic where She-Hulk broke a guy out of jail who had assaulted a female and then let the victim kill him. Because that's something that superheroes do. How exciting would it be to walk home in the dark and not worry, she added. She-Hulk is able to walk home even while wearing headphones and not worry because she has the power to not feel vulnerable physically, and I think it's pretty unique, the thing that only a group of women could have brought to this, among other such nuanced things as well. Yes, because a man doesn't know how to tell a story about a female being able to defend herself. No man could do that. You're right, Cat Coiro. You're absolutely right. Did your husband stand up and say stunning and brave and clap like a seal? Or was he too busy licking the bottom of your boots? I don't know. This is funny. Putting forth one example of such nuanced things, Coiro recalled, we talk a lot about women feeling the need to be polite. If some guy comes up to you in a bar, it's obvious what he wants, but you don't want to offend him because you're afraid of being rude. Jennifer Walters has this new part of herself that doesn't have to temper that. It doesn't have to put up with things she doesn't want to put up with, the director said. Jennifer Walters doesn't have to put up with that crap. Well, here's the thing. If a man approaches you at a bar and he's rude, then you have every right to be rude back to him. Or you can just ignore him. And I understand that there's guys out there that are pieces of shit that would take this to the next level, and they're garbage, and no real man supports men like that. As a matter of fact, we absolutely detest men like that because they give good men who actually respect women, a bad name. And I've got that a lot. I've got called a misogynist a lot, and it's funny. Anybody that knows me knows nothing could be farther from the truth. But you don't have to be a beta male simp to respect women. Those are not mutually exclusive. Jennifer Walters has this part of herself that doesn't have to temper that. Yeah, see, that's so she can just be a cunt, basically, is what she's saying. She can just be a cunt for no reason because she's a Hulk.
Audible cunt.
I don't think that Kat Coiro has any idea what she's doing in terms of storytelling in a superhero show or genre. I think this show's going to be bad, but let's take this thing home.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Up into the ring in just a moment or two for more exciting fucking action.
Get your own.
Take that, you bitch!
Oh, what the hell?
How'd you like that?
Hey, joke's on you. I have hepatitis.
Boom! I could do